Bullshit! Song of the Deep is an excellent entry in the Metroidvania genre of games. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, but are really critiquing every game for not being the next Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time. To get started, Song of the Deep is a gorgeous game. The backdrops are colorful, detailed, and really feel alive, with tons of aquatic life swimming around amongst all the coral and wreckage from the ships and other contraptions. The story is engaging, following a girl named Marin searching for her dad who set sail for sea and hasn't returned. I know the premise sounds plain, but the plot really takes a turn for the better and throws a lot more at our heroine than what she bargained for. The supporting cast, although fairly monotone, is endearing and likable. Combat seems to be a reoccurring complaint amongst these reviews. I really don't understand why. Marin has more than enough tools at her disposal, and they all control very well. If you've ever played any top-down shooter, then you'll be very familiar with the game's mechanics, although of course there's a bit of a twist being that this game is a side-scroller. You have a claw, and eventually get different torpedoes you can use to fend off your enemies. The claw works as a sort of arm extension, and extends at whichever direction you're aiming at the time. The same goes for the different torpedoes. Whichever way you're looking is where you'll aim. They are both very responsive and very fast. Trust me, you'll never have to take time to reposition yourself or to fire an accurate shot. It always goes where you want to go. Marin also has an upgrade tree which allows you to upgrade all your weapons and even the claw. You can also find separate upgrades for these scattered across a very large map. All of these upgrades definitely change the way you can use your weapons, but never feel necessary. They were still fun to experiment with though. I will admit, the combat isn't terribly difficult, especially with all the save points scattered throughout the game. And there aren't too many different enemy types, but the game is about exploration and storytelling, and it does both really well while also having very functional combat and great puzzles. As for set exploration, it plays out like any other Metroidvania title, except you can move around more freely, not having gravity limit your vertical movement. Basically, you can go anywhere you want, given you have the right tools to progress. There will always be a path you could take, and there are other paths you can warp back to later and try to get past once you found one of the many different upgrades you'll find along your journey. These paths can net you the aforementioned weapon upgrades, increase your maximum health or torpedo gauge, or just be the next point in the story you need to go. But it isn't all easy for Marin. Other than the few enemy types that will try and stop you, you will also encounter quite a bit of puzzles, many of which will surely make you stop and think. Most of these are really well thought out and require a good amount of trial and error before you get past them. Some puzzles, such as having to carry a bomb to a barricade that blocks your path, can be annoying, but there aren't many of them, and the frustration and your frustration will vary based on how well you can control the ship, which by the way controls very well. Also, without trying to spoil anything, I just want to touch on the amount of variety in this game. Many puzzles are quite different from one another, and even the few boss fights are quite fun. The game actually only has one true boss, to be fair, not including the underwhelming last boss, but there are a bunch of mini boss fights along the way as well. Furthermore, different areas present different challenges, so in one area you might have lots of currents trying to force you off your path, while you have to use your environment to help you move forward, while another will have you gradually sneaking through menacing enemies who can kill you in one hit, and you can't see anything at the time, regardless of your health. All in all, Song of the Deep has gorgeous graphics with very animated backdrops, a wonderful soundtrack, an endearing and surprisingly good story, and fun combat, great exploration, and a rewarding upgrade tree, and a ton of puzzles that really require you to think. Sure, the game isn't the most challenging, even on its hardest difficulty, which is the one I played through. There aren't a ton of enemy types or boss fights, and some of the puzzle physics can be a little bit frustrating, but no game is perfect, and these flaws hardly detract from my enjoyment of the game, if at all. Song of the Deep deserves much better than what these big name review sites are giving it, and so my final verdict for Song of the Deep is a 9 out of 10. It is a wonderful Metroidvania title that you absolutely shouldn't miss. It's only $14.99 USD as well, and if you like Metroidvania style games, then you should definitely check this one out.